Hello, dear listener, dear viewer. My name is Mompoloki Lerumo Mogobe, your host of this wonderful show. We're now heading to 700 subscribers. I think you guys are beginning to like our podcast. And please keep those subscriptions going. Before we go into our show for today, please, I urge you to get your relatives and to get your friends to subscribe so that we can reach more people and share more powerful entrepreneurial content. But today I have a regular, if you like. I have Mr. Mogomotsi France, who is coming to share with us life points as to business post COVID-19. This is one of the first shows we've had since we released. In Setswana we say which means we just came out of quarantine, just out of COVID. So this is the first time legally we are allowed to meet like this. So it's very, very exciting that I should bring a guest who's performed best previously, Mr. Mogomotsi Patrick France. Welcome to our studio, which is in my back garden, for front garden.
Yes, Mr. Mogobe, thanks a lot
Yeah.
for inviting me again, I think for the fourth time.
Yes.
Yeah, and I can also say what a happy time to be alive. You can see that I've got my mask on.
Yeah.
I think it's all because of the precautions that we have to take.
Yes.
And the recommendation by the health sector that we should take care of each other, more especially this COVID situation.
Yes.
Limit.
Well, at least we are social distancing.
Yeah, that's
and
good.
We also have a mask. I have a mask.
You have your mask too. Can I take mine off so that I can be able, because at least there's a distance?
To communicate, yes.
Oh, okay.
All right. I think we want to talk about life after COVID. We are hoping that there won't be another law where we have to go back to quarantine. We're hoping that there won't be another spike or a sudden outbreak. We are praying and hoping, and my gut tells me that we've seen the worst of it. Yeah. In Botswana, we've been lucky. We've had only one regrettable fatality, and most of the cases, we have about 29 now, have recovered. Yeah. I think there have been 19 recoveries. Yes. So we pray for our minds, get our thoughts, and go to those who are recovering. Mm-hmm. Now, let's talk about life post-COVID-19. We've identified 10 important points, me and you, that we need to talk about. The first one is the power of now. Are you referring to the book by Eckhart Tolle?
Eckhart Tolle.
Same topic.
It is one of the wonderful books ever written, yeah, or the most insightful spiritual books. Because when you talk about the power of now, it's very important, because then people get to panic. There's a lot of anxiety, uncertainty happening. And by the way, on that book, The Power of Now, he talks about the importance of now, living on your consciousness on a moment-to-moment basis. How does it relate to this the COVID situation? Look, I mean, we took about 2 months in our houses, so it was time to reflect. So it's either, when you have a lot of time to think, you can either think about the past or worry about the future. And he says that the past and the future are just illusions. What's important is now, because now there are no problems. Because what do people worry about? What will happen after COVID? Will I be able to generate the income that I used to? Would I be able to, or will my business perform the same way as it used to? Will I still be having my job? So you see, you are worried much about the future. And also the past, things were better in the past, or you're just worrying too much about it. But if you look at now there's no problem. So I think when he says the power of now, I really agree with him. Post COVID-19,
when you say now is no problem, and we're talking about people who are not sure whether they will receive their salaries. We're talking about people who are not sure whether they'll get customers. When you tell them now you are okay, what do you mean? When month end is around the corner, you have to pay bills.
You have to pay bills. Here's the thing about now. Look, you can't control the future. You can't even predict the future. They say the best way to predict the future is to create it. So what I'm saying is, when you talk about the future not going the way you want, all that's it's going to create is worry and anxiety. But when you talk about when you focus on the now, you think about someone not paying you. Let's say you talk about rental income. Some people not paying you. You wonder what percentage of people will pay you. You're worrying about it. But if you focus on how many are paying now and how many are paying, how many are going to pay on a moment to moment, you won't get. You will focus your energy on the right things, because I think worry steals our peace and it steals our energy that we could be directing.
Let's use an example. Our situation at Mogobe Incorporated. For April, I think we received about 70% or so of the
that's good
of the income.
That's good.
Yeah, April wasn't so bad, but we got a devastating blow in May. I think we're sitting at about 56, 57%.
Yeah.
So what should we? How does the power of now help us deal with those numbers?
Focus on what you can control. I mean, you got 56. Be appreciative. Is the attitude of gratitude.
Yes.
I know you're in business, you have to, but we all know that everyone is facing financial challenges. But however much you can collect, that's good. That's why the power of now is important, because then you'll be focusing on, I've got this, and it will make you happy that you've got something, instead of worrying of the percentage that you didn't get. And the now also says, what other ways can I be able to communicate with my tenants to be able for us to approach the situation in a mutual beneficial way? Because then you see, focusing on now makes sure that you become creative, instead of worrying, am I going to get 60, 70, whatever percentage? Yeah, you're focusing on what is there at your hand and you're able to control.
Yes,
they say focus on what you can control, because what you can't control will only bring in worry.
Yeah. I like that, and for me, you are preaching to the converted, because I agree with that. The next point I want us to talk about is the destructive power of the media. That's one of the subjects that you want us to talk about. Why do you say that the media is destructive?
Yeah, it's good that we're talking about focusing on the now. When I was in quarantine, I took time to invest in myself, but though we'll talk about it later. But I realized that, taking care of your mind and not disturbing it with so much of information, because there are a lot of people that are giving out information that is kind of disturbing. Let's take social media, for example. When you talk Facebook, let's say you wake up in the morning, because there's this hormone called dopamine that you're addicted to. Every morning you check what are the latest on COVID. What are the latest numbers from Worldometer, because that's where people reference their numbers. What will then happen is it will create worry in you, because it will make the world look like it's doom and gloom. Right? It will make things look so catastrophic, because people are just posting. And so, by the way, some of the things that are posted online, some of them aren't untrue.
The
majority aren't true. So it depends on where do you get your information
sources,
from. So now think of it. If you limit the kind of information you get from social media, and you have time to focus on yourself, because then you won't be distracted by what's happening. Because like I'm saying, think of it, if you track the South African numbers, and they are our neighbors here, if you track it, you think that the world is ending, because you start referencing, yesterday there are about 200 new cases. Why we're
talking about a community of 60 million people.
That's the thing,
compared to 2.3 or 2.4 us. There's no comparison.
Recently there's been numbers that have been going up, especially when in the global numbers. Russia has gone up. America, people are dying in average of more than 1,000.
If you look at 100,000.
That can actually disturb your way of looking at, or your optimistic way of looking at life. So I'm saying, media is it's good when you rely on good sources of, but don't consume it on a day-to-day to a point where it disturbs your way of creativity. I think also this time was meant for you to introspect and look at yourself and be creative enough. Now, how are you going to be creative when you're all driven by fear because of what you consume from media?
I think that is a very important point. I've actually made it clear in a post that I've made. So I agree with
thanks a lot for the post. I read them, and I really get educated from them.
Thank you. You say people make money while you complain. It's true, isn't it? But can you give examples?
Yes, there's so many things happening in this situation. For example, people have been making money. People don't know. Some people have been in their houses, but some have made money. Every situation, every difficult situation provides itself an opportunity to make money. They say there are three kinds of people. There are people who watch things happen, there are people who wonder what happened, and there are people... Actually, let me repeat that. There are people who watch things happen, there are people who make things happen, and there are people who wonder what happened. So, as you see right now, government had put some money into the COVID fund, and there were people contributing into it. There were so many opportunities of supplying, PPE. So many companies wanted to buy, because some of them were regulations that you had to have certain, requirements in place for you to open, or for you to operate, or for you to move around. So there were people supplying that.
Yes.
So the question is, were you on the receiving end or were you in the supplying end? So when you are complaining about so many things, were restricted, to move around things. There's no alcohol. Other people are cashing in.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's not only COVID. There's so many situations that are going to happen in the future. I remember there was the netball that came around. You know, there was a tournament, world tournament that happened in Botswana.
Yes.
And people
yes,
were complaining about, you know, are we ready? Are things happening the way? Are we even doing things right? While others were finding opportunities in that to actually make money. So I know people that have been cashing in. Some were not even in that business, but they found an opportunity and cashed in this business. So sometimes the opposite of complaining is actually cashing in.
It's funny you should say that, because I was reading somewhere that Zoom and Skype have made exponential growth. They've exploded during COVID.
But if you talk about Zoom, you know, I've come across a statistic. Zoom was used by 10 million people daily prior pre-COVID.
Yeah.
But now within COVID, they're used by 300 million people daily.
Yeah.
And they've grown. They've actually increased their value. They are now more than 5 airlines, actually 7 airlines. The information is available online. You can just search Zoom value compared to the American Airlines. There are more than 7 airlines combined.
Just from COVID.
Just from COVID.
Yeah.
So the question is has your business grown through COVID, or it just remains stagnant and you just looked at the media and complain and while other people are cashing?
One of the lessons we've picked up, and this is nugget number 4, is that we're not independent. You know, we are interdependent.
Yeah.
And we depend on others. Can you speak more to that point?
Yeah, this has shown me a lot, and I think it has shown Botswana a lot. Remember when we were in lockdown, we were even told that the trucks will continuously be bringing stuff in. So if you look at our import bill, clearly shows you there's actually a report, ITMS report, that Statistics Botswana puts out every month, just to show you our imports and exports. So when you look at COVID, it was showing that we're getting things from South Africa. We're actually dependent on South Africa. But you see, this has nothing. We can't blame ourselves. Look at our history. We were, you know, in the colonial era, most of the stuff were taken from outside. I don't want to sound controversial, but if you think of a colonization, when it came to Africa, it brought in so many things. And so many reliance, so many. One of the companies, I don't know if I'm allowed to mention names. A company like Unilever, for example. When you go to Unilever, it says that 2.5 billion people use Unilever products in a day. Most of those are in Africa. And that's a British company, which means that in colonization they came here. You might ask yourself, what are Unilever products? When you use Omo, that's Omo. And some people think, if I don't like Omo, I'll buy Sunlight, but they're still from the same, and Surf are still from the same company. So I'm saying that we have been dependent on the colonial structures for a while. We're not dependent.
For too long.
When you think of the agricultural, which is the first, you know, there were actually, I think we referenced it in the past interviews, that there were 4 revolutions. There were actually the agricultural revolution, the industrial revolution, the information age, and now we're in the 4th industrial revolution. When the world was going through the agricultural revolution, we're enslaved. So we never really got to appreciate and be able to own our own production. So now we are realizing that we are dependent on other countries. Now, because most of our headquarters are in South Africa, manufacturing is mostly in South Africa, we're importing almost everything. So now ask yourself this question: within your household and in your fridge and in your kitchen,
everywhere,
what products are really produced here compared to the products that we get from outside? Now, this provides an opportunity to also look at business opportunities. And then clearly, it shows that we are consuming things that we're not producing. So we're not independent.
And it's not as if it's difficult to produce those things.
It's not.
I mean, let's talk about vegetables. Let's produce it's something like vegetables. If we set up our own markets, because the excuse you've been hearing about vegetable producers is that Choppies and whoever the supermarkets are dictate prices. Why can't they get together and set up their own markets?
That's the thing.
Yeah, like in other countries, open markets where you just meet and then you distribute whatever it is you're selling. At reasonable prices. You're
right. And I when I was in Chicago, they say people when they've gone outside the country, they always say, when I was in the US. So when I was in Chicago.
Yeah, it's right. It's right. Yeah.
So I saw this thing called vertical farming. You know, people complain about the weather. They say, no, we don't have water. And by the way, if you look at Botswana, I'll go back to my example, my Chicago example, because it relates well with our geographical setup.
Yeah.
You know, the eastern shores, the side of if you look at the map, this side is the desert. The eastern shores are on this side.
Yeah.
And that's why Gaborone was positioned where it is because of water and all those other issues.
Yeah.
So you realize that the Limpopo passes through that side, and there was so many. If you look at most where we plow, it's on the eastern side of the country.
Yes.
Now think of it. If now we're challenged because of weather and all those other issues, why can't we now think of innovation? Why can't we mix fourth industrial revolution with agricultural revolution? Make sure that we use vertical farming. This way they plant in a building.
Yes.
They control the temperature, they control the nutrients, they control everything, and they produce. And it has shown that they can produce
very successful,
more.
yeah.
Because it's layers and layers, and they can produce.
So I'm sure there's some young entrepreneur who is interested in agriculture out there. There's some already who might latch on to that. And COVID, I think your point is that COVID has made it even more urgent for us to explore these technologies.
It has.
Yeah.
It has.
Yeah.
If COVID if this lockdown was to go for 6 months, which will affect the economy obviously, but clearly what you find certain things being shorting within distributions. I mean, if you buy, I remember there was a time when before COVID, just to show you that we're dependent. Wanted to buy a burger in a certain chain store, and I was told there was no tomato, and I was like, where do you get them? It's like in South Africa. It's like, oh, so there's no one producing them here. They produce, but they are not consistent in terms of delivery. It's like, oh, so it means we can now start clustering and start, like you're saying with your example.
Yeah.
How do we build local economies? In actual fact, we can do another interview where we talk about building local economies.
Yes.
And I've got some insights on how and sharing
we'll go
on how to
into
do that. Yeah.
But I want us to go straight into the issue of technology. You say technology is upon us. Indeed, it's upon us. Are you saying that in a positive or a negative sense?
On a positive.
Yeah.
On a positive. It has shown us that we have to evolve. Evolving. They say evolution, evolving. With us is we're catching up. Remember, other countries are 400, 500 years ahead of us.
Yeah.
We have to catch up through all these 4 revolutions, but at the same time, not forgetting that we have to be self-sustainable and self-reliant.
Yeah.
So technology is upon us in terms of our businesses, in terms of how we do businesses. Right now, we've got a business at Keyworth that a company has requested us to start off training. We can't wait for COVID.
Start what?
Training.
Yeah.
Now it's online. We can't wait for us to do like a classroom one. We have to do online. Because
Zoom and Skype.
We have Microsoft Teams, Zoom, Skype. There's so many of them. Go to training. There's so many of them. So we have to now start, billing by doing online. So we have to think outside the box of how to better our online delivery. And so for a lot of businesses, online services are going to be part of that product offering. Because it's upon us. We can't. So we can't do it. Now a percentage of our income should be generated through technology.
Yes.
Even I guess
regardless of what sector you are in.
Yeah, and also just way of life. Money. There's 2 different types of money. Money you can touch with coins and cash and paper one, whichever it's made of, and then also this digital money.
Yeah.
With this COVID situation, people are using less of money.
Talking about cryptocurrency?
Not really cryptocurrency. Digital money is like mobile banking.
Yes. Okay.
You transfer using however.
Yeah.
We can transfer money.
So in other words, people have had to focus more on that as a result of COVID.
Yeah. Plus, also we reduce transmitting COVID. If you transfer online, I don't have to give you the cash because the cash COVID. They say it lasts on the surface for 24 hours.
Even on paper, on money.
I think so. I haven't heard of anything of that. I'm not a medical expert, but I think it's a surface. So you
want to avoid a surface. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, you want the listener to ask himself, what new skill have they acquired, and what new skill can they develop as a result of COVID?
Result of COVID.
Yeah.
Can I take it back a bit? I'm sorry to do that. I'm going to touch on that one. When we're talking about technology being upon us, I came across something that Bank of Botswana has now said that mobile companies should be licensed as companies. As you know, we have got Mascom, Orange, and B Mobile. That they have got your Orange Money, Maizaka, and Smega. Now Bego Botswana is saying they will be licensing mobile money companies. I think this has opened opportunities for other guys. You know? Not only the mobile companies.
Have they been unlicensed? Have they been illegal?
You see, these things where regulation was continuously evolving. They were figuring out how to properly regulate them.
Yeah.
But I guess it's opened an opportunity for guys in the technical space.
Because I'm told in a place like Kenya, it's actually taken over. Mobile money has taken over more than, yeah. It's called what?
M-Pesa.
Yeah.
Digital money has taken over because it makes things easier. You know, and also you can. There's something called financial inclusion. Even people in rural areas that don't have access to a bank account, or maybe just not in the rural areas, just anywhere because you know KYC. You don't have any income. You don't have a payslip. You are able to use mobile money.
So what exactly is Bank of Botswana saying now?
It says that you can now. The way I interpret it is that you can actually open up a mobile money company and then start transacting. But you see, you obviously have to study the market and see how best you can position yourself. But I'm saying it's the opportunity.
A recognition of a new category for banking purposes.
Yes, for banking purposes. Yeah.
All right. So will you answer my question then?
Yes.
The new skill that you're actually asking the viewer a question. What new skill
have you acquired?
And what new skill are you acquiring? Because you had how many hours sitting there for 8 weeks?
So we can say 24 times 30 times 2. It's been like 8 weeks.
Yeah. It's a long time.
One might ask themselves, how can I acquire skills sitting home? Skills are acquired and engraved in the subconscious mind. And skills are acquired through knowledge. And through repetition. Okay, you might say I can't be craft, I can't be at the industrial place to be able to apply that skill. But here's the thing, I'm actually talking about looking at life differently in a way that you can leverage your knowledge and your know-how. So you can acquire a skill through reading of how to do things. You know, for example, people that have been home, have you acquired cooking skills? Have you acquired presentation skills? You can present in front of a mirror. Have you acquired how to make friends and influence people by reading? I've actually read that book actually.
Yeah, you read it.
I've read it. I've you know, there are different ways of reading. There's video, there's audio. I've consumed it in video and audio, but now I was consuming it physically. And I realized some of the things I've been doing now they was cementing the way I was doing it. So there are many skills that you could have learned, you know, and also online courses. I've taken an online course. Have you taken an online course as a viewer? There are many of them available. Have you? And they will help. They will even boost your CV.
This gentleman here, our video guy, Huaba Saku. If you don't mind me mentioning your name. He's told me that he's perfected his skill when it comes to video editing and some aspects of video recording during COVID. You know.
Think of it.
Think
of it. You have. Congratulations, big guy. Do you know that some people make money on Facebook? A lot of people make millions on Facebook. Millions. Not Facebook, sorry.
YouTube.
YouTube. People make millions on YouTube. Just posting videos on YouTube. And then there's advertising happening there and people make money out of that. There are people who their life is actually posting videos on YouTube and making money out of that.
And we are getting there. We're getting to that.
You want to make money from YouTube?
We have started.
I thought you had money already, so you don't need to make. After you make that money, pass it to me.
All right, that's a good one. Now, what's really important? Is that a question? What is really important at a time like this?
It is a question.
We have to grapple with that.
You know, people have realized that things that are important are not things that are bought with money. By the way, I would like to start ask this, answer this way. There's the Maslow hierarchy of needs. There's the basic needs, food, shelter, and all those other stuff.
Food, shelter, and clothing.
Yes, and then there's other needs as you go up that has to do with the respect and all that. The cars that we buy, the clothes that we wear, the phones that we use, all those only have value, by the way, when people look at them. So actually they don't have value when they are packed in their house, in our houses. So their value is perceived by us getting respect from other people. So here's how I'm going to answer it. Are you going to spend so much money on buying a particular thing, could be a car, a cell phone, whatever, because you want people to look at it and why you are in debt? So the other thing about it is that do we then realize that they don't hold value if people don't look at it? Do we also realize that all those things that we have bought with money can be replaced? COVID or being locked in our houses has actually showed us that there are people that hold value. There are things that are valuable than things that we buy with money. I'll give you an example. Like I was saying, anything that you buy with money can be replaced. A car, When your car gets in an accident, you can buy a new one. If you insure it, you can buy a new one, or even if you have money, you can buy a new one. Your cell phone is not. This is not the first cell phone you've used. You've used so many of them. You've always replaced it.
Yes.
Why do you put value on it if you can replace it? In a house, if it bends, you can build another one. Anything that we buy with money can be replaced. But everything that we were given for free cannot be replaced. Everything that God has given us for free cannot be replaced. What are those? Our minds, we can't replace our minds. Our arms, our body, let me say, cannot be replaced. Our children cannot be replaced. We didn't buy our children, even though we were told that Banabari. We never bought our children.
Spouses?
That's a good one.
No, don't talk about Lobola or Bahadi. No. You're not buying anybody.
They can be replaced, but it can be the same person.
Yeah. The one you have is irreplaceable.
The one you have is irreplaceable. So children can be replaced, parents can be replaced, siblings. So this time of COVID gave us an opportunity to bond with people that are really valuable in our lives, and not the people that we meet on social media.
And I think looking back, everybody has to say, look, that is one of the biggest advantages we've had from COVID.
Yeah.
Because we've had to now get to understand this person in this space for 24 hours.
24 hours.
Yeah, over such a long time, and then it's a different person.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Now we know people now.
Yeah.
Not that you always know people. It's difficult to know a person, but at least we have an understanding of what makes them.
And you have a better appreciation of the person.
Yes.
No, that's good. So you're saying that we've discovered what's important as a result of COVID. I think another flip way of looking at it is that you also discover how important your freedom is. The idea that your freedom is curtailed.
Yeah.
Now, some of us who are lawyers who always took it for granted that, look, this thing is in the Constitution, freedom of movement, freedom of association. COVID comes and then throws that out the window.
Out of the window.
Yeah, so you realize what is really, really important, which you took for granted.
That's the thing. Freedom is very important. By the way, there's another freedom of being created by wealth. Some people work for money, and some people have made money, passive income. Now they've got freedom to do whatever they want.
Yes.
While others are stuck because they have to pay off debt.
Yeah.
So now this has shown you that you can do whatever you want at any given time. So you can then create that freedom by, if you go to work or you run a business, invest well, so that now you are able to. Maybe we'll talk about it later. I think it's one of the nice.
I think that's an interesting point. I want us to deal with this issue of wealth, the issue of whether we are survival versus in regard to wealth. The question I want to put to you is that having been in COVID for 2 solid months, are we able to use the COVID situation to help us, whether we are merely surviving or we've gained wealth to the point where we can thrive, go beyond just mere survival and thrive?
See, it has shown us so many ways. It's shown us where we get our income, how many income streams we have, what can we afford, what is a liability, and what is bringing in income over and above our normal income. Because you see, the other thing about it is that, Karl Marx. Karl Marx was I think his ideologies were more of socialism and communism, I guess.
Communism, dictatorship of the proletariat. I think he misled the world.
He misled the world. But there are certain things you can also learn from him. I don't subscribe to wholly his ideologies, but he defined ways in which there is the proletariat and the bourgeoisie.
Proletariat.
So he said most stuff are with the bourgeoisie that are materialistic and are able to sort of have the wealth to them. But again, when you think about the 80-20 rule, that 80% of the money is 20% of the people, and 20% of the people have to control 80% of the money. So you think about it. What is class? What is class? Class these days has been defined by the level of education. It's not defined by income. And that's where the challenge is. Because in Botswana, or just generally, we've got the lower income, the middle income, and the high net worth. The lower income, rely on just hand to mouth. I do something, I get money. Even if they are working, they're probably paid lower. The middle income have access to debt. They're able to buy stuff, leveraging debt. But most of them, because of lack of financial literacy, they end up buying liabilities, like houses they stay in, big cars that they don't bring in money and all that. Now with this COVID situation, people saw that these houses, we stay in them, they take money from us. You know, people were talking about loan moratorium, where bank had to give you a loan holiday. People are seeing now that this loan that I'm paying on a monthly basis is for a house that is not generating income.
Yeah.
And by the way, the ones that are high net worth have seen that those are the only ones that make money when situations like this happen, because they always have cash reserves.
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is that this situation of COVID has shown us that we are not wealthy. We are actually surviving. Now, you need to understand there's a difference between being rich and being wealthy. Being rich is measured in money. Being wealthy is measured in time. If you have got 100,000,
Yeah, you like saying thousand.
You're 100,000 richer.
Yeah.
But in terms of wealth, we'll check how long will that 100,000 last you. Let's say if you had to be locked in your house for 10 months, and your consumption, household consumption, is 10,000 a month. That means that 100,000 can only, without you generating income, can only last you for 10 months.
Yeah.
You're not wealthy. But if let's say you had an income generating asset like a rental income or whatever, or online income that generates that 10,000, regardless of the COVID situation, or regardless of whatever situation you're in, forever, you're wealthy.
Yes.
But this one has got cash. It's just rich. There's a difference between being rich and being wealthy.
Yeah.
So this situation has shown us that most of us are either we're rich or we're just surviving. We're not wealthy.
It has really put into focus what Kiyosaki talked about,
Yeah.
Made it very, very clear what was talked about in things like cash flow quadrant,
Yes.
rich dad, poor dad. You've seen it in actual reality.
In actual
you can't
reality.
say like maybe there's no room for guesswork. You've seen it for yourself during COVID.
Yeah.
that's good.
And there's a quote that says the money makes noise, wealth, something like that. Is it money makes noise, but wealth, is it rich makes noise, but wealth whispers. When it's times like this, the wealthy relax, because they know post-COVID they're gonna be more wealthier. And they also can survive and they can stockpile and however. But the rich, they're worried because if the situation doesn't change, things are going to be difficult because they're eroding their savings.
I want us to wrap it up. We've had quite an interesting discussion to talk about, this COVID situation having been a wake-up call. That's point number 10 really. But how has it been a wake-up call for us as Botswana, for us as entrepreneurs?
It has been a wake-up call. Number one, on the issue that we discussed about us being dependent on other countries, that means there's so many opportunities. I think that is the time for people to go look at the import bill and see what opportunities it presents, and then couple it with what government has recently posted from the Minister of Trade, Citizen Empowerment Bill, which I think is going to go into law, and go look at all those businesses that 100% citizens can actually take advantage of, and see that COVID has opened an opportunity because there's so many value chains that you can position yourself. That's number one. Number two, it's been a wake-up call to show us what's valuable and what's not valuable. Like I said earlier about, we put value on things that do not matter. Now, even in our businesses, what is really valuable? For instance, in our businesses, some of us have got, I'm not talking about particularly about Keyworld, but in a lot of businesses, they've got a lot of employees that some are not even income generating, that they might have to look at, where am I losing money here? I think there was introspection and reality.
Talking about dead wood and chair warmers and people who just really...
woodpeckers.
Yeah, we just turn up for...
A woodpecker is something that it will eat the boat as you are traveling to a point where when you get to it, then water start coming in. So that's the thing. So you need to now look, it's a wake-up call actually, to say, we need to look at life in a different way.
So what do you think big companies should do, even medium-sized companies? Should they bring in experts who can help them evaluate their stuff to see whether they are adding value or actually just wasting time or wasting away value?
I will not be advocating for retrenchment or restructuring, however, but I think restructuring is key, because restructuring is not retrenchment. You can restructure because sometimes you have placed an employee where it's not their strength or when they are not capable of generating or maybe showing their value. So restructuring might be key, not retrenchment. Restructuring.
Even where you see that people are just wasting value or wasting time.
You might have to retrench, yes, but it's not. Can it be the last thing, because unemployment is too high? So we don't. The last thing you want is
be the last option, really.
Should be the last option.
Yeah, no, I like that.
Yeah, but hell, it's a wake-up call. I think everyone now could see who controls the money, who controls. I mean, if you are not able to contribute to the COVID, some didn't contribute, but contributed somehow.
Yeah,
you know, it's not only monetary contribution. Keeping your staff is contribution.
Yeah,
yeah. But you see.
And obviously also contribute to the fund.
Yes.
In terms of cash.
Yeah, maybe just to ask you a question, who controls who controls our economy? Not to say answer it, but it is a question that we need to ask ourselves.
Yeah.
How come one guy is able to contribute 2 million? How many of us can contribute 2 million to the fund?
Yeah.
Or 5 million? Or 10 million? How many of us?
Yeah.
There are people. And not to dispute the fact that there are Botswana that are wealthy, and I'm talking to one of them, I'm just saying, that can contribute. But the question then is wealth spread? I mean, we're in a capitalist environment, yes, but do we have enough wealthy Botswana? Can we say we've got 500,000 wealthy Botswana? Can we say that? Out of a population of 2.3 million, do we have 500,000 wealthy? Remember, I defined rich and wealthy. Can we say that? This has been a wake-up call, guys. We need to start thinking, how do we then, start empowering each other?
All right, let's share a bonus. We've covered the 10 points. What is a takeaway, the overall takeaway message that you would give to the listeners in regard to how to survive? I know I've covered this extensively in my previous video. How to not only survive but thrive post-COVID.
The last point for me will be take care of your mind, protect your mind. Because you need that energy. Remember, energy cannot be created or destroyed. Energy can only be transferred from one matter to the other. Collect yourself, reserve the energy, protect your mindset, and that's the only way you'll be optimistic, and that's the only way you'll be able to see opportunities where others cannot. So post-COVID, now there's so many opportunities out there. With this citizen empowerment, there's so many opportunities out there. With everything that has been happening, I talked about the import bit, there's so many opportunities out there. Everything starts with the mind. We can talk about a lot of things happening, but if you are not psychologically prepared, then you won't see opportunities. Okay. Each and every Motswana shouldn't start with opportunities there. They should start with, am I ready psychologically to persevere, to be able to be in this business and go in it. There's another concept that people say, do I need to follow my passion? I think in this day and age, not only do you need to follow your passion, following your passion is minute in getting things done. I think you should bring your passion along to everything that you do. Because when opportunities are presented, some of them are not your passion. How do you make sure that then you bring your passion along to manufacturing something that will generate income and make wealth for you and for fellow citizens? I think let's bring our passion along.
In other words, your passion can be applied, should be applied to where the opportunity is.
Yeah, let's apply our passion to every opportunity. I think of it. My passion is in speaking to people. But can you say speaking to people it's only the business? It's got limitations. But then I said training is a business. Let me bring my passion of speaking to people into training. Into insurance. Into advisory. Now we're in sewage. I'm bringing my passion of entrepreneurship into sewage business, into sanitation.
You're about to compete with me.
Not competing. Let's complement. That's another thing. Let's complement.
I like that. It's compliment. All right. This has been a wonderful, wonderful presentation. How do people get hold of you? How do people reach you? And please also remember to encourage them to subscribe to this channel. You can go check out my YouTube page. Sorry, let me talk about my Facebook page first. Go check out my Facebook page. It's Mogomotsi France Speaks. Facebook, Mogomotsi France Speaks. And I also now have got a new YouTube channel. It's new. Go and subscribe. It's called Mogomotsi France Online. That's some videos that I also post in there. And I also encourage you to subscribe to Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom. Click the subscription button below, and also just click the bell so that you can see when Mr. Mogobe posts more videos. And also at Key Wealth, remember Key Wealth, we're specialized in training, advisory, and risk management. So our website is www.keywealth.co.bw. You can call us at 398-0321. 398-0321. 398-0321. And if you want to hear more from Mr. France, there are 3 previous videos where we've had the privilege of interviewing him. I think there'll be one more in the near future. So he's part of our team. So please keep us in mind and do support us. Thank you very much.
And by the way, thanks a lot for continuously giving us business.
Okay.
That's what I was talking about when I said complement each other and also helping each other succeed.
Yes.
I think the old folks that have been there in entrepreneurial space were able to come together.
Yeah.
I guess the guys, not that you're old, but guys in your generation, were able to come together.
Yeah.
And I saw that you went with your investment club, you posted on Facebook.
Yes.
That means you had that collectiveness and cohesiveness.
Yes, indeed.
I think we're losing it as the generations that are coming along. And you giving us business shows that you have trust in local and citizen-owned companies.
Thank you very much.
Keep it up.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And teach the young ones how to do it.
That means a lot to us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, dear listener, dear viewer. Until next time, this is Mompoloki Lerumo Mogobe signing off.